Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be talking about word problems for solving systems of equations. Specifically the kind of problems we're going to go over today are what I like to call total value problems, which will kind of give you a hint about how we're going to set them up. But basically these problems are going to break down where when you read them, you're going to notice that they talk about the total amount of items and then what those items are worth, either in money or in something else. And we're going to use that to create our two equations and then solve either by using substitution or elimination, depending on whichever one would be easier for us, okay? So here's kind of the basic setup that you're going to be looking for as you do this, okay? You're going to be setting and looking for this total equation, which is going to be the amount of item 1 plus the amount of item 2 equals the total number of items. And then you're going to be looking for a value equation where basically it's sort of the same as a total equation, except that you're going to be multiplying each of those items by what they're worth, okay? And if that doesn't make sense, we're going to do a bunch of examples so you're going to kind of see this setup kind of happen over and over again. Let's look at our first example that we're going to go over here. So we have a store that sells gumballs and chocolate bars. The store sells gumballs for $2. They sell the chocolate bars for $3, and they made $34 selling 12 total products. How many gumballs and chocolate bars did they sell? So first thing you should do, no matter what, whenever you're solving a word problem, is you need to identify your variables. So for me, I'm going to say G equals the number of gumballs. And I'm being specific about that because I want to make sure when I get my answer, I know that it's the number, not the value of them, right? We're finding the number, okay? So it's the number of gumballs. And then I'm going to say C is my number of chocolate bars. Okay, so that's the first thing I want to do. Identify what am I solving for, what are my variables for this problem. It's going to be the number of gumballs and the number of chocolate bars, okay? Then I'm going to go through and I'm going to look for two different equations. I'm going to look for stuff that has to do with the total, and I'm going to look for things that have to do with the value, okay, what it's worth. Let's start with the total, okay? Now, I see something that says, hey, you sold 12 total products. That, whenever you see something that has to do with, hey, all together you sold this, or all together you have this, that's going to be what's on the other side of the equal sign. That's going to be, this is what this all adds up to, okay? So I know that this equation is going to equal 12. So you might be asking yourself, well then what gets added together to give me that? Because if I look back here, it said the number of the item plus the number of the item equals that total. What's going to go over here is actually the variables we identified right here. G is the number of gumballs. C is the number of chocolate bars. It doesn't tell me that in the problem. It's my variables. So over here is going to go G plus C. Your total equation for these kind of problems is always going to look like that. My variable plus my variable equals some number that it adds up to. Okay? If I add these up, it should give me my total items that I sold, the total things that I have, whatever, okay? Now the next equation, this is the value equation. This has to do with what they're worth, okay? I know that a gumball, according to this, is worth $2. So I'm going to say 2 times G. That's going to tell me what the gumballs are worth. The chocolate bars are worth $3. I sell them for $3. So I'm going to do 3 times C. And then my total value, what they're worth all together, is going to be this number right here, the $34. All together, I sold them for $34. Okay? Everything in this second equation has to do with the value. You'll notice we're multiplying things by those variables from the first part of the problem. Okay? So G plus C equals 12, 2G plus 3C equals 34. We now have a system that we can solve. We have a total equation, we have a value equation, we now can go ahead and solve. And you can choose how to solve this either way you'd like to. You can either use substitution or you can use elimination. That's up to you. Some people like using substitution. The top equation, you subtract C, move it over, and then go ahead and plug that in. It's not too bad. I'm going to go ahead and do elimination here. So I'm going to multiply this top equation by 2. So that would give me 2G plus 2C equals 24. I'm then going to go ahead and I'm going to subtract these two to cancel some things out so I can solve. So the G's will go away. I'm going to get C, and over here I'm going to get 10. So I now see that I sold 10 chocolate bars, okay? Well, if I sold 10 chocolate bars, I go ahead and plug it back into one of these two equations. I'll pick this one up here. So 10 G plus 10 has to equal 12. And if I solve this, we subtract 10 from both sides, I'll get that G equals 2. So I know that I sold 10 chocolate bars and 2 gumballs, which makes sense. We can check it in the other equation. 2 times 2 is 4. 3 times 10 is 30. 30 plus 4 is 34. So $34 altogether. That's what I earned off these gumballs. Okay, setting up my total equation and my value equation. Let's go ahead. Let's look at another one. Here's another example. Okay, this one again. We're going to talk about money in terms of what it's worth. We're going to the York Theater, and they sold 500 tickets for a Saturday show. The theater has $9,040 in total sales, and they sold adult tickets for $20, and they sold children tickets for $14. We want to know how many adult and children tickets did they sell. So first thing, again, every time I do a word problem, I want to identify my variables. In this case, I'm going to say my variables are A, which is going to be the number of adult tickets, and then my other variable is going to be C for the number of child tickets. I'm going to write number of adult and number of child. Remember, we're talking about the tickets, okay? Number of adult and number of child tickets. Okay, so now I need to write a total and a value equation. So we're going to have a total equation, and we're going to have a value equation. Well, for the total equation, if we go ahead and we look at this problem, we see that we sold 500 total tickets. That's the amount of the items that we have. Notice again, I'm talking about the amount. I'm not talking about what it's worth. I'm just talking about how much of the thing do I have. We know we sold 500 total, so that's going to be what this equals. In terms of how much of each thing I have, again, I'm going to jump back to my variables. They tell me how many adult tickets and child tickets I have. I have A, adult tickets, and I have C, child tickets. Again, those are basically unknowns. That's what I'm solving for. I'm going to figure that out when I solve this problem. Before this equation, it's going to be A plus C equals 500. 500 total tickets, okay? Now we get to the value. What is each thing worth? Well, it says that an adult ticket is worth $20, so I'm going to do 20 times A. A child ticket is worth $14, so I'm going to do 14 times C. And then how much money did I make altogether? I made $9,040. That's my total value. What is everything worth altogether? Okay? So you can see, very, very similar setup to the last one, right? Oh, this is my total, how much I have of each thing. This is what they're worth. I multiply that by each of my variables and have it set equal to the value that's there. Now that I have these two, again, I can solve either way. I can use substitution, I use elimination, any way that I want to solve. Again, I think I'm going to use elimination for this one. I'm going to go ahead and multiply that top equation by 14. So I'm going to get 14A plus 14C equals 7,000. Okay? And then I'll go ahead and subtract these to make my C's cancel out. And I'm going to get that 6A equals 2,040. And then I'll divide by 6 on both sides. And I'm going to get that my number of adult tickets is equal to, let's go ahead and do 2040 divided by 6. I got 340 adult tickets. Okay? Again, I'm not done yet. That's just the number of adults. We want to know the number of adults and children. So I need to plug it back into one of my equations to find the number of children. I'll put it back in the original equation. Normally, the total equation is going to be easier for when you plug it back in because it's pretty much always going to be variable plus variable equals number. Okay, so we'll plug that back in here. So I'm going to get 340 plus C equals 500. And then I'll go ahead and solve for C. So I'll subtract 340 from both sides. And I'm going to get 160 children tickets. So I sold 160 tickets to children and 340 tickets to the adults. Again, setting up that total equation, setting up that value equation. Okay, and then we can go ahead and solve. Okay. Now, here's the thing. We think of value a lot of times as money. In fact, most of the time, probably at least 50%, maybe more, you're going to see these problems involving money because that's, you know, in the U.S., we always think of that as the value. But for these kind of problems, they can be more than that. They don't have to always be about money. we can think of value in a lot of different ways. Okay, for example, in this problem, we have Mike who has 20 packs of pens that come in 2 sizes. There's a pack of 4 pens and a pack of 6 pens. When he counted, he had 86 total pens. This guy likes to collect pens, apparently, got a lot of pens. I want to know how many of each type of pack of pen does he have? How many of each type does he have, okay? So, we're going to go ahead and come up with our variables here. I'm going to use the variable, I'm going to use X and Y for this one. X is going to be for the 4 packs. Okay, the packs that have 4 pens in them. And Y is going to be for the 6 packs. Okay, the pens that have 6 in them. And then that's what I'm going to use for my equation. So my total equation, again, is going to look like X plus Y, my number of 4 packs plus my number of 6 packs equals 86, or equals 20 packs of pens. He has 20 total packs of pens. That's the total. How many packs do I have? When I go to do the value of those, you're going to notice there's nothing about money in this problem. The value is really how many pens are in there. That's what we're using as value. You'll see a lot of different things we can think of as value. You'll see legs on animals. You'll see number of pens is in this problem. You'll see the amount of just a lot of different things. Anything we can use that's numerical, we can use as a value. Okay, what is it worth in terms of this, that, or the other? How many wheels does it have? Things like that. How many people fit into a van or a bus? Or just different things like that. That'll be your value. It doesn't have to be money every time, okay? So for this one, it's going to be 4x plus 6y equals 86. I'm going to go ahead and have you guys pause the video. I want you to finish this one for me. Go ahead and solve for x and y and figure out how many of each type of pack do we have. Okay, go ahead and finish that, and then we'll meet back together and see if we got the same answer. Okay, I went ahead and did elimination again. So I multiplied by 4 the top equation. I got 4x plus 4y equals 80. Subtracted, I got 2y equals 6 divided by 2. And I got that he had 3 of the 6-pack pens, okay? I then went ahead and plugged that back into my total equation. Solved for x, and I got that he has 17 of the 4 packs, okay? So that is our kind of problems, the total and the value, what you're looking for. These ones, you'll see these problems are specifically telling you this is the value. This is what they're worth. They're worth 4, they're worth 6, they're worth $10, they're worth $20, whatever. And you're using that to go ahead and set up your equations, okay? Thank you all for watching.